Ever noticed how the moment you pull away, someone suddenly starts to miss you? 1 minute, you're always available, and they treat you like a mere option, as if you don't matter. Then, just like that, when you create a little distance, they're desperately craving your attention. Why does this happen? What's the secret to flipping the script and making them realize what they've lost? Let's face it, this isn't about being petty or playing mind games. It's about mastering your own presence, embracing that space between you, and letting them experience life without you. In today's video, I'll reveal 7 brutally honest reasons why pulling away can make them come running back. We'll tap into some Stoic wisdom to unpack it all. Get ready. This perspective shift could transform how you see relationships and, more importantly, how you see yourself. But first, let's clarify something powerful. This video is not just about them. It's about you. You have more control over your relationships than you realize. This isn't merely about waiting for someone to come crawling back after you've distanced yourself. It's about taking charge of your life, owning your choices, and recognizing your worth. Stepping back isn't just a clever tactic to grab their attention. It's a vital act of self-care. It's about your growth, your evolution, and giving yourself the respect and time you deserve. I know many of you feel frustrated, having given too much for too long. You've been the one reaching out, putting in the effort, and trying to mend things. But here's the truth. Every time you chase someone who doesn't appreciate you, you lose a piece of yourself. That ends now. By the end of this video, you'll not only grasp why giving them space works, but also how to do it in a way that leaves you feeling stronger, more confident, and empowered. Here's the beauty of Stoicism. It's not about ignoring your feelings or pretending you don't care. It's about acknowledging that you can't control how someone else feels or reacts. You can't dictate whether they'll recognize your value immediately, but you can control how much energy you invest in someone who doesn't appreciate it. When you pull back and redirect that energy toward yourself, something incredible happens. They start to see what they've been missing. Your actions show them that you don't need their validation to feel whole. So, are you ready to reclaim your power? Let's dive into the 7 reasons why giving them that much-needed distance will have them coming back for more. Reason 1, the shock of your growth. Have you ever wondered why people get so comfortable in relationships, be it friendships or family dynamics? It's because they think they've got you all figured out. They assume you'll always be the same, always available, always catering to their needs. That's precisely why, when you take a step back to focus on yourself, it completely throws them off balance. It's like pulling the rug out from under them. They're left bewildered and uncertain. Imagine this. For months or even years, you've been the reliable one, the person who always checks in, makes plans, and is there whenever they need something. Then one day, you stop. You stop texting, you stop calling. Instead of chasing them, you begin pursuing your own goals. You hit the gym, level up your career, and spend time with people who truly value you. What do you think happens next? They freak out. They didn't see it coming. They thought they knew you, but now you're someone they no longer recognize. Here's the secret. People fear change, especially when it comes from someone they underestimated. When you grow without them, it makes them question everything. They start to wonder, did I misjudge them? Did I miss something? This shock acts like a wake-up call they weren't prepared for. Suddenly, they crave your attention even more. But let's be clear, you're not growing for them. You're doing it for yourself. That's the real twist. Many people mistakenly believe personal growth is about proving others wrong. It's not. It's about becoming the best version of yourself for your own sake. The more you focus on your goals, ambitions, and personal growth, the more your transformation will speak for itself. Here's what happens next. They start to watch you. It's human nature. Those who didn't value you will begin to lurk, curious about what's changed. They see your newfound glow and realize they missed out. But by then, it's too late. You're already thriving. Choose one area of your life to focus on and dive into it wholeheartedly. Whether it's fitness, your career, or personal hobbies, make that your priority. Don't do it to prove anything to anyone else. Do it because you deserve to live your best life. Trust me, when they see how much you've grown, they won't be able to ignore you. But by then, You'll be so focused on your own growth that their reactions won't matter. Reason 2, the magnetic pull of self-sufficiency. Let's take a moment to explore self-sufficiency, one of the most overlooked yet powerful traits you can cultivate. Many people don't realize just how magnetic self-sufficiency can be, especially in a world where so many rely on others for validation, attention, and approval. When you stand on your own 2 feet, you set yourself apart in a profound way. Most individuals are constantly seeking reassurance that they are enough and that they matter. But when you thrive on your own terms, it captures attention. You become a force of nature, someone who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel complete. Self-sufficiency isn't about shutting others out or pretending you don't care. It's about knowing your worth without needing external validation. When your happiness, confidence, and success are no longer tied to anyone else, you unlock an incredible power. People are inherently drawn to those who know themselves and don't continuously seek approval. Why? Because it's rare in a world full of people trying to fit in. Being comfortable standing alone makes you stand out. When you embody self-sufficiency, you exude a quiet confidence that can't be faked. It's not loud or boastful, it's an inner strength that speaks volumes. You're no longer chasing attention or begging for validation, and that's the moment people begin to crave your presence. They start to wonder why you seem so okay without them, leading to a shift in dynamics. Suddenly, they feel like they're missing out on something they never realized they needed. Here's the truth. People want what they can't have. When you stop giving them the attention they took for granted, you become the thing they desire. It's almost as if a switch flips in their minds. The person who was always there, checking in and making them feel important, is now absent. Instead of you needing them, they start to feel like they need you. This shift isn't about manipulation. It's about establishing healthy boundaries where your happiness is anchored in yourself. When others witness this, they're drawn to your world even more. Think about it. When you were always available, reaching out constantly, you were giving away your power. You were essentially saying, I need you to feel good about myself. But when you stop seeking their validation, when your actions demonstrate that you don't need them to be happy, everything changes. You're no longer chasing after them. You're focused on your growth, your goals, and your happiness. This transformation is magnetic. Everyone wants to be around someone confident in who they are. Moreover, when you become self-sufficient, you break free from emotional dependency. You're no longer hanging on their every word, waiting for them to make you feel worthy. Instead, you create your sense of worth through your actions and achievements, thriving independently. When you reach this point, it can be unsettling for those who previously took you for granted. They begin to notice that you're happy and fulfilled without them, and that realization can be jarring. Self-sufficiency also teaches you how to protect your emotional energy. When you're no longer relying on someone else for happiness, you become selective about who you let into your life. You can establish boundaries without guilt because you're not afraid of losing someone who doesn't respect you. Setting these boundaries earns you respect, not just from others, but from yourself. When you stop being so accessible, people begin to appreciate your presence more. Think about it. When someone is always there, it can be taken for granted. But when you pull back, it forces others to reassess how much they value you. Suddenly, they crave the energy they used to receive from you, realizing how much they miss your presence. Self-sufficiency is not about isolation, it's about strength. You can enjoy the company of others while recognizing that your worth isn't defined by them. You can walk into a room alone and still exude confidence, regardless of who is around you. This kind of self-assuredness is rare, and it attracts people effortlessly. Start small. Treat yourself to something you love, whether it's a solo dinner, a hike, or a day dedicated to you. Learn to enjoy your own company and appreciate your time with yourself. The more comfortable you become in your own skin, the less you'll feel the need for external validation. And here's the bonus. When others see how well you're doing on your own, they will be drawn to that energy. They'll want to be a part of your life because you're no longer reliant on anyone else for fulfillment. When you create your own happiness and confidence, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And that's when people truly begin to understand just how magnetic self-sufficiency can be. Reason 3. The envy of your newfound confidence. Confidence is a powerful force that can make people stop in their tracks, especially when it comes from someone they least expect. For too long, you may have been the person who hesitated, second-guessed your worth, and sought validation from others. But then, suddenly, you emerge like a bolt of lightning, disrupting the entire dynamic. Your newfound confidence shifts the power balance in your relationships, leaving others to wonder, where did this transformation come from, and how did I miss it before? Imagine this. You've always been the one who asks for opinions before making a decision, the one who looks to others for validation, letting their thoughts shape your self-image. But something changes. You take a step back, focus on yourself, and begin to build a stronger version of you. You work on your self-esteem and learn to trust your judgment over theirs. Gradually, your confidence blossoms. Here's the thing about confidence. It's contagious, but not always in the way you might expect. When someone who took you for granted sees you stepping into your power, it can make them uncomfortable. Why? Because your growth shines a light on their insecurities, prompting them to question themselves and wonder why they didn't notice this side of you sooner. It sparks envy, not necessarily toxic, but a genuine yearning for the confidence you now possess. They wish they could walk into a room with their head held high, fully aware of who they are and what they stand for. Your transformation changes their perception of you. You are no longer the person who relied on them for validation or sought their approval before acting. You've become someone who knows their worth, and that kind of confidence is magnetic. It draws people in while forcing them to reflect on why they didn't recognize your potential earlier. Let's break this down further. When someone is accustomed to holding power over you, whether in a relationship, friendship, or work environment, they become comfortable with your need for their approval. This dynamic makes them feel secure in their position. But when you stop seeking their validation, when you start making decisions on your own, the balance shifts. They no longer feel they have the upper hand, and that discomfort creates a ripple effect. Your confidence demands respect and commands attention in ways that your previous uncertainty never could. People are forced to see you differently. They can no longer treat you as someone waiting for their validation because you clearly don't need it. This change in how they approach you often reveals how much they underestimated you. However, the most beautiful aspect of confidence is not just how others see you, it's how you see yourself. You no longer rely on external approval for self-worth. You know who you are, and you're unafraid to express it. You take up space, voice your thoughts, and stand firm in your decisions. That self-assuredness attracts others to you. People want to be part of your energy because confidence, in every sense, is attractive. It's important to note that confidence doesn't have to be loud or assertive. True confidence is quiet. It's an inner knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. It's the ability to walk into any situation fully aware of your value without seeking validation. This kind of confidence is incredibly powerful. It transforms how people treat you, and more importantly, how you treat yourself. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about embracing your imperfections. It's trusting yourself enough to recognize your worth, flaws and all. You don't have to be everything to everyone because you are enough just as you are. When you begin to embody this level of confidence, everything changes. You no longer seek approval, you've given it to yourself. So how does this make others crave your attention? It's simple. People are drawn to those who are self-assured because confidence is something we all aspire to. When they see you standing tall, owning your space, and making decisions independently, it ignites curiosity. They start to wonder how you gained such confidence and why they didn't see it before. That curiosity evolves into attraction, creating a desire for your presence. Here's where it gets even more interesting. When you exude confidence, you compel others to confront their own insecurities. They can no longer project their doubts onto you because you're not accepting them. Instead, you're showing them who you are, and that compels them to want to be part of your world. Your self-assuredness provides stability, and people crave that stability. Begin practicing confidence in small ways. It could be as simple as saying no to things you don't want to do, or standing up for yourself in situations where you usually remain silent. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and you'll start to see shifts in your relationships. Confidence doesn't mean being the loudest person in the room. It means knowing you belong there, even if you're the quietest. When you own your worth and stop relying on others to define it for you, you'll experience a profound shift. Those who once took you for granted will begin to crave the confident, self-assured version of you, the version they never saw coming. And that version of you? It's unstoppable. Reason 4. The intrigue of unpredictability. Unpredictability is one of the most underrated forms of power in any relationship. Many people underestimate how magnetic being unpredictable can be. When someone can predict your every move, they stop paying attention. They get comfortable, assuming they know you inside and out, leading to a lack of effort and interest. But when you become unpredictable, it forces people to sit up and take notice. Suddenly, they don't know what to expect from you, creating intrigue and curiosity. Let's break this down. Imagine you've always been available, always texting first and initiating plans. Initially, this predictability feels comforting, but over time, it becomes boring. There's no excitement or mystery, and they no longer have to work for your attention because you're always there. Then, something shifts. You stop being so available. You don't reply to texts as quickly, and you're not always the first to make plans anymore. You're busy living your life, and you're no longer putting them at the center of your world. What happens next? They start to wonder what's going on. This curiosity is powerful. It makes them think about you more, trying to figure out what's changed. Here's the truth. People are naturally drawn to mystery. We're wired to solve puzzles, and when you become unpredictable, you turn into one they can't easily solve. They don't know your thoughts, your actions, or why you've changed, making you infinitely more interesting. Consider this. When someone can predict your every move, there's no challenge. But when you become less predictable, it forces them to reevaluate how they see you. They start asking questions. Why haven't you texted back? Why aren't you always available anymore? Are you seeing someone else, or are you just too busy with your own life? These questions make them think about you more, shifting the dynamic. They no longer take you for granted because they no longer feel secure in what's happening with you. However, unpredictability doesn't mean playing games. It's not about withholding affection or manipulating someone. It's about genuinely living your life while prioritizing your own needs and goals. When you focus on your growth and happiness, unpredictability becomes a natural outcome. Here's where it gets even more powerful. Unpredictability creates value. When you're always available, it's easy for someone to take your time and attention for granted. But when you pull back, it forces them to recognize that your presence isn't guaranteed. They start to see you as someone valuable, someone they don't want to lose. If you've always been the one to initiate contact, they start to expect it. The moment you stop, they notice. They realize they can't take your efforts for granted anymore, and that shift from comfort to uncertainty is where the true power of unpredictability lies. People become more invested in what they can't easily obtain. If you're always available, there's no need for them to work for your attention. But when you put yourself first, they feel the need to invest more. They start to wonder what they need to do to get your attention again, and that's when they begin to crave it. Remember, unpredictability isn't about being flaky or unreliable. It's about creating a healthy balance where you no longer make someone else the center of your universe. You're still present, but you're not as predictable as before. You're focused on your goals, no longer bending over backward to fit into someone else's schedule. Start by breaking one routine. If you've always been the one to text first, stop. If you're always available at a certain time, get busy doing something else. Make your time valuable again by not always being so predictable. Let them wonder what's going on and let them feel the absence of your constant availability. The intrigue that comes from being less predictable will naturally make them think about you more. The beauty of unpredictability lies in its ability to shift the balance. When they can't predict your every move, when they don't know what to expect from you, they begin to crave your presence in ways they never did before. They'll realize you're not someone they can easily figure out, making you infinitely more attractive. Reason 5. The realization of what they've lost. One of life's toughest truths is that people often don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. It's not that they never cared, it's simply that they became comfortable. They took for granted your constant presence, your willingness to invest your time and energy in them. But when you step back and give them space, it forces them to confront a reality they hadn't considered before. You contributed far more than they realized, and now that's lost. At first, they might not even notice. They might assume you're just busy and will be back, thinking everything will return to normal. They're so accustomed to you always making the effort that they fail to see the significance of your presence. However, over time, a shift occurs. They begin to feel the absence of all those little things you brought into their lives. The conversations, emotional support, shared laughter, and the comfort of knowing you were always there for them. That's when the realization hits. They've lost something invaluable. People often underestimate the impact they have on each other's lives until they no longer have access to it. When you were there daily, checking in, making plans, and showing up, they got used to it. What once felt special became a guarantee. But when you pull back, they are forced to confront how they took you for granted. Trust me, that realization can be a profound wake-up call. In your absence, they start to see clearly what you brought to their lives, the emotional support, the time you invested, the joy you shared. As they replay memories of the good times, the deep conversations, and the laughter, the weight of their loss becomes apparent. They begin to understand just how much you enriched their life, and that realization can be both shocking and painful. When someone is always there for you, it's easy to overlook their value. But when that constant presence disappears, it creates a void that makes them reflect. They start to think about how you contributed to their happiness, how you made their life better, and how they took all of that for granted. That's when regret sets in. They regret not appreciating you more when they had the chance, and start craving the connection they've now lost. Here's a powerful insight. When someone realizes what they've lost, it often comes with a deep sense of emotional discomfort. They question themselves, wondering how they could have overlooked something so important. They start to see all the ways they failed to appreciate you, feeling as if they let something precious slip through their fingers. That kind of regret doesn't just fade away, it lingers, making them think about you more and more. But here's the key. You didn't do anything wrong by pulling back. In fact, by giving them space, you allowed them to see your true value. You created an opportunity for them to reflect on everything you brought into their lives. Now that they feel the loss, they are likely realizing they made a huge mistake by not valuing you when they had the chance. This sense of loss can be incredibly powerful, often driving them to try to reconnect with you in ways they never did before. However, remember that this isn't about manipulating anyone into missing you. It's about recognizing your own value and not settling for a relationship where you're not appreciated. By giving them space, you're allowing them to reflect on their actions and realize what they've lost. You're showing them that your presence in their life is a privilege, not a guarantee. Consider this: your time, energy, and love are valuable. When you give them to someone who doesn't fully appreciate them, you're allowing them to take you for granted. But when you pull back and reclaim that energy for yourself, you make a powerful statement about your worth. You're saying, I know what I bring to the table, and if you can't see that, you don't deserve to have it. That kind of self-respect is incredibly attractive. It's often only after someone experiences your absence that they fully understand how much you meant to them. They start comparing their lives now without you to how it was when you were around. That comparison makes it clear just how much better their life was with you in it. They begin to crave the emotional support, fun, and comfort you provided. However, they can't just snap their fingers and get it back. They need to earn their place in your life again. Don't rush back in when you give someone the space to realize your worth. Let them sit with that feeling. Let them truly experience what life is like without you. If they come back, it will likely be with a new appreciation for what you brought to their lives. But if they don't, that's okay too. You've already taken steps to honor your own value and focus on your growth. The realization of what they've lost is a powerful motivator, forcing them to confront the truth about how much you meant to them. It often leads them to want to reconnect. But remember, this isn't about them, it's about you. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than being genuinely appreciated. By stepping back, you give them the chance to see your value, and when they finally realize what they've lost, they'll either step up or step out. Either way, you win. Reason 6, the desire to be part of your new journey. When you take a step back to focus on yourself, an incredible transformation begins. You start evolving, growing, and embracing new opportunities. Maybe you're picking up new hobbies, advancing in your career, spending more time with those who truly value you, or dedicating yourself to personal development. Whatever it is, the shift is undeniable, not just to you, but to everyone around you. And guess what? People notice, especially those who once took you for granted. Here's the truth. Growth is magnetic. When others see you leveling up, thriving, and moving forward without them, it ignites something within them. They start to feel the sting of missing out on this exciting new version of you. As you explore new paths and embrace fresh challenges, they want to be a part of that journey. They don't want to be left behind, watching from the sidelines as you step into your power and live a life that fulfills you. Think about it. When you were always available and putting others first, they felt comfortable. They didn't have to make much effort because you were always there. But now that you've taken a step back and started prioritizing yourself, the dynamic has changed. You're no longer the person waiting for their attention. You've transformed into someone who is living life on your own terms, setting your own goals, and making things happen. This shift makes others want to reconnect because they see you're on a path of growth. They realize you're moving forward and they don't want to miss out. Here's what many don't understand. Personal growth is incredibly attractive. When you actively work on becoming a better version of yourself, whether in your career, health, relationships, or personal development, you radiate progress, self-confidence, and ambition. That energy naturally draws people in. Those who once took you for granted now see this new side of you and realize your life is advancing with or without them. They feel a sense of urgency to be part of your journey because they recognize you're headed towards something greater. However, they also understand they can't simply waltz back into your life as if nothing has changed. They'll have to put in the effort because you've set new standards for yourself. If they want to be part of this evolved version of you, they'll need to step up and show they're willing to grow alongside you. When someone witnesses you thriving, it prompts them to reflect on their own life. They start to question, what am I doing? How did I miss this side of them? Why aren't I growing like that? It's a wake-up call. They see you making moves and realize they've fallen behind, creating a desire to be part of your journey. They don't want to miss out on the exciting things happening in your life, nor do they want someone else to appreciate your new, evolved self before they do. This isn't about making others feel left out. It's about living your life authentically and fully. You're not waiting for anyone to catch up. You're moving forward, with or without them. And that's exactly what compels them to come back. They want to be there for this new chapter of your life, standing by your side as you continue to grow. But here's the catch. They know they must earn their place. They need to prove they can support this empowered version of you or risk being left behind. Another important truth is that as you focus on your own journey, those who aren't meant to be part of it will naturally fall away. This is a positive change. You don't want to carry people who can't support your growth or aren't willing to evolve with you. The right people, the ones who truly care about you and see your value, will rise to the occasion. They'll want to be part of your journey, not to hold you back, but because they recognize how amazing your future is and want to support you every step of the way. So, focus on your own growth, not to prove anything to anyone, but because you deserve to live a life that excites and fulfills you. Whether you're starting a new hobby, pursuing a passion project, or simply striving to become the best version of yourself, Make this journey about you. The right people will be naturally drawn to your energy, and those who took you for granted will soon realize what they're missing out on. When you start prioritizing your own journey, you not only improve your life, but also demonstrate that your time and energy are valuable. You show that you won't wait around for anyone. If they want to be part of your life, they'll need to step up. This self-assuredness and growth are incredibly attractive, making people want to come back, not just to be around you, but to be part of the exciting, evolving life you're creating. Reason 7. The fear of losing you to someone else. Fear stands as one of the most potent motivators in human psychology. When someone realizes they might lose you to another, that fear strikes hard. They start to recognize that your absence is creating space for someone new in your life, and the thought of you being with someone who values you as they didn't is enough to push them into action. This fear generates a sense of urgency and desperation that's hard to ignore. Consider this. At first, when they see you thriving without them, their instinct might be to brush it off, thinking you'll come back or that it's just a phase. But as time passes, they grasp something much deeper. You're not merely pulling away. You're evolving, growing, and transforming into a stronger, more confident version of yourself. It begins to dawn on them that someone else will soon notice what they overlooked, someone who appreciates the incredible person you've become, and they might not get another chance. Here's the harsh truth. Most people don't want to admit it, but the thought of being replaced is terrifying, especially when they see you becoming happier, more self-assured, and independent. They start to wonder, what if someone else steps in and recognizes all the qualities I took for granted? What if they treat you better than I did? That's when the fear truly takes hold. They begin to imagine scenarios where you're with someone new, someone who values you from the start, and that thought can send them into a panic. As this fear of losing you intensifies, it often triggers a wave of regret. They lament not treating you better, not valuing your presence when they had the chance, and now they fear they've lost you for good. This fear doesn't simply fade, it lingers, compelling them to think about you more deeply. They begin comparing themselves to that imaginary person who could step into your life and offer what they didn't. And trust me, that comparison gnaws at them. But here's the crux. This fear transcends mere jealousy. It's about realizing they no longer have the comfort of knowing you're always there. They can't take your presence for granted anymore because they understand there's a genuine possibility that someone else could come along and take their place. This realization becomes a powerful motivator for them to act. They don't want to miss the opportunity to be part of your life, but they also see the dynamic has changed. You're no longer waiting for them. You're moving forward. If they wish to be part of your future, they need to step up before it's too late. Interestingly, this fear doesn't just drive them to return. It compels them to reflect on their own behavior. They start asking themselves why they didn't appreciate you more, why they took you for granted, and what they can do differently to avoid losing you again. This introspection often leads to genuine change because they realize that if they don't address what went wrong the first time, they might not get another chance. Thus, the fear of losing you can catalyze real growth. However, it's essential to note that this isn't about manipulation. You're not pulling away to instigate jealousy or instill fear. You're prioritizing your own growth and happiness. Their newfound fear of losing you is a natural consequence of their realization of your value. They took you for granted, and now they see what they stand to lose. Keep thriving. Don't let the fear of someone else's reaction dictate your path. Focus on your growth, build your life, and surround yourself with those who appreciate you from the start. If someone fears losing you, it's because they finally recognize what they should have valued all along. But that recognition doesn't mean you should halt your progress for their sake. Remember, the fear of losing you to someone else is a powerful motivator, but it's not the end goal. Your growth is about you, not them. If they want to step up, they need to do so on your terms. Not out of fear, but from a genuine desire to be part of your journey. And if they choose not to, that's okay. You're already moving forward, and someone who sees your value from the beginning will be ready to walk that path with you. Here's the bottom line. Distance isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your power, self-worth, and time. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can control is ourselves. When you step back from someone who doesn't appreciate you, you take control of your life. You show both them and yourself that your value doesn't rely on anyone else's recognition. Trust me, when they see you growing, thriving, and becoming the best version of yourself, they won't be able to stay away. But here's the key. You don't need them to come back. You've already won by focusing on your growth. Whether they return or not, you're stronger, smarter, and more empowered than ever before. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment below and share your journey. Are you currently giving someone distance? Have you had someone come back after realizing your worth? I want to hear your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Thanks for watching.